Welcome to Raaonline. So today I will be talking about physiology of hearing. Introduction. I will be basically talking about a little bit about the physics of sound, because physiology of hearing has got a lot to do with the physics of sound. So how do you define sound? Sound can be defined as vibratory energy which is transmitted from a source through the surrounding area in the form of pressure. And this is a physical wave in the sense that it needs a physical medium for it to travel. Sound is a longitudinal wave. So if you look at the properties of the sound wave, we know that sound requires a medium to travel. It travels by compressions and rarefactions, and when the sound wave travels, the particles along its path vibrate and produce pressure. If you look at the components of sound, so because of this, any wave has specific properties, and you can divide it into different components. If you look at components of sound, so sound has a frequency which is linked to the perception of pitch. So if you look at sound in itself, because it's got a lot of physical attributes, and also we use sound as an organ, to perceive. Hearing is used for perception of sound. We also have to look at how these components of sound are used in hearing. So if you look at frequency, frequency is linked to the perception of pitch and is measured in hertz. The intensity of sound is linked to the perception of loudness. So the greater the intensity of sound, the louder we perceive it to be. The pressure variation about an ambient pressure, which is how you define intensity, is the pressure variation about an ambient pressure, which is directly related to the velocity of particles. So the greater pressure variant around an ambient pressure, which is the reference pressure, and the greater the velocity, the greater the particles, the greater the intensity, which means that the greater the loudness of the sound. So greater the velocity, greater the peak pressure. So all these are important because these are all the terms which you use to measure the intensity or measure sound. When the displacement of particles is in sync with velocity, it means that the particles are in phase. When there is displacement of particles with relation to the velocity, then you say that there is a phase lag. Impedance is the resistance offered by the medium to the wave. So as the sound travels in different medium, like in air, in gas, in liquids and in solid, the medium offers resistance to the vibration of the particles, and this is impedance. And when you're looking at the middle ear function, impedance plays a very important part. The intensity of sound can be measured by root mean square of the pressure squared divided by 2 times impedance, which is RMS pressure square by 2 into impedance. The sound wave can be plotted as a sinusoidal wave. These are all the components of sound and how we describe sound. Now coming to the human hearing. The characteristics of human hearing can be said to be: the range of the human hearing in a normal young adult is around 0.2 to 2 kilohertz, which is 200 to 20,000 hertz. The maximum sensitivities for sound or for the cochlea is around 2 to 4 kilohertz. When we do a pure tone audiometry, we generally test between 250 hertz to 8 kilohertz, 0.25 to 8 kilohertz. 200 milliseconds is the shortest duration of sound that we can perceive. Anything less than 200 milliseconds, the sound is perceived as a click. So when we want to test for sound, duration of sound should be more than 200 milliseconds.